Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third Joyous Everyday Living radio show. I'm Beth Amine, and I'm here with my dear friend Patty Teal, and we're hosted by the Hub for Humanity. Well, the basic focus of this show is how to consistently create a life that is abundant in joy, and also how to stay in a state of vital and vibrant aliveness all the way through it. So, a primary component of this joy and this happiness, and really it's also the consistency of it, is having all your thoughts and perceptions be very self-honoring first. So it's about having a fantastic relationship and fun relationship with yourself. So that's going to be also a reoccurring theme, especially in this radio show, is that theme of self-love and just how good it is to be who you are and with yourself. So I want to have a little recap of our first two shows. Our first show is very close to New Year's in 2019. And what we did was we picked a word that would create a focus or a direction for the year. And this is different than a resolution or a goal. It's a little softer than that. It's almost like a guiding light, we called it, so that when you're slipping on either side, you can go back to your word and go like, yes, that's the bigger picture. That's it. So my word was unlimited for the year. And that's because towards the end of the year, I really was faced with looking at a lot of my own limitations and ceilings I had put on the good in my life. And so I thought, well, this year that would be very appropriate. So I want to look at, possibilities are unlimited instead of coming from a lot of the blockages that I had been carrying with me for a very long time. And I got a subword, so you can have as many as you want, but I made a subword, which was relax, because I know if I chill out and I relax and I'm not like worried or whatever, gnarling, I'm gonna much more let things flow and allow things to happen and really allow the sense of the unlimited. And I know Patty, my co-hostess, chose courageous because she's having a tremendous amount of new things that she's delving into in her life, new ways of being, new business, really opening up to a very big picture. So her word is courageous, which is really appropriate. And I'm like, I honor that because that's something we all need. And it's a good word to keep with you. It's warrior, not worrier thing, which is not my quote. That's my friend Bernie Bernstein, and I have to accredit her with that little bit of genius. So the other thing that we did, we had a little bit of like kind of fun homework, was to rewrite our story or write a story of exactly what your life would what you would love your life to look like this year. And you can do it for the rest of your life too, but this is a no holds barred, no judgment, no thing too big or too unrealistic. And it doesn't matter what it may look like now. This is your dream, and this is your biggest, most positive dream. And I did it in 4 segments. I did relationship to myself, that was health and all the things that I would like for myself. The second one was relationship, intimate relationship, a mate, what you want in that, what you want to have happen. The third thing was money or abundance. And then the fourth relationship was career or your relationship to the world. So you can pick any, you can modify that to fit your own life, but that's what fit for mine. And it gave me kind of an outline in which to fill out this incredible dream of exactly how we are creative beings. We're here to create. And so we want to have our creation in front of us. And I now actually read my story. It's a page, little graphic on it that I like. It's 1 page, and I read it every morning when I wake up. And now I'm reading it every night before I go to bed. So just so you know, I am in this lab with you. This radio show is working me too. I'm doing all this, and I'm going like, okay then, whoa. Because I wrote my story, and I thought, oh, this is brilliant. This is everything I want. I've like got it all here. Yeah, it's all put together. And I remembered that I had written a story with a similar intent about 3 or 4 years ago. And so I went to my computer and I said, oh, let me see how things have changed in that amount of time. So I looked it up and I went, oh no, it's the exact same story. So I kind of flipped out and went like, okay, you are completely insane. You are an insane person. You've been going around on a roller coaster hamster loop, not making any progress, not getting any results year after year. And you're nuts. So I work through things. I know. I work through things physically. So I had some kind of innate need for simplicity, I guess. I don't know. But I have to do something physically to work through stuff. So I went to my clothes closet, which is fast because I love to dress up. And I started going through, thousands of socks that are mismatched, sock monster lived there, outfits I haven't worn, just, icky things. And I got really OCD, I got obsessive compulsive about having the hangers all be straight. Took me 2 hours. I was in this crazed mode in 2 hours. And finally the closet was all perfect. And I took a breath and I had this like aha moment. And I went, oh, wait a minute. I actually really like my life. And I actually really like who I am. And actually like what I've got. And so it was just like, it was so peaceful and it was so stabilizing. And, you don't feel that very often either, like, I don't like it or I want that or whatever. And it was just a moment of, so this is where I find my stability, right? And kind of accepting where I am and who I am and myself and what I've got and how much I've accomplished. And so even though my results and haven't been different, my story hasn't changed, I got that solidity of being satisfied with what is and totally expecting the best to come, totally expecting that. And so that kind of brings us around to our theme of self-love, or how we perceive ourself again, and just how crucial that is, what a fundamental that is to the basis of happiness, because that's where you find your stability and your power. So then I took a little time and I thought about all the learning that's gone on in that 4 years, and really how much I've grown and how many steps, little steps at a time, step at a time I've taken, even though, like I said, that big picture really hasn't shown up in the way I have designed it yet. It totally is that destination, and everything that I've gone through and grown in and all the people I've encountered along the way. And this, I think I mentioned it just like because it was so new to me. I'm usually so healthy. I had a little health issue around the holidays in December and took some time off because really what it amounted to, and the pieces started fitting when I'm seeing about all this growth, like, oh, that piece fit. And the whole process, because last week we talked about creative process too, and just really being patient with that as things unfold. It's the nature and the essence of life is this growth. This is the aliveness, which is everything that we're talking about in this show. And so I realized that I had burnt myself out. I've been one of those extremely self-motivated people. And as an artist, it's a very deep relationship with self. And I produce constantly for really nearly 5 decades. And so in that mode, I got very used to doing many things on myself, constantly generating. And I actually experienced my first burnout this holiday season because my vehicle, in other words, what I could do with my body and my own mentality, was limited. It actually, I had to grow into my story. It's a growth into this larger story. I could not become big enough, as big as my story is, operating on the same operating system that I had, which was me doing everything. Now it is simply time for a huge collaborative model that can create my dream, because that's going to be with the talent of others and the ability of others and the collaboration of others. And as we do it all together, even a brand new model for how things are done. So that process took a long time. And did I get the exact result? Well, not yet, but I had to, my container was too small for my dream. I had to become bigger on the inside so that it could happen. So you never, you just have to keep in the perseverance of the whole thing. And so it's not like, what I mean to say is you run into places of conflict or places of contrast because that's how we grow. You have to have that in order to see the direction and to create the next place. This weekend I had an interesting experience. I have a sister that I'm extremely close to, and she was visiting, and we talk about so many profound things, but a lot of times we get into childhood patterns where we each think we're the mom, the mom. And so we start getting like weird. Like I get all like, I get all testy and street scrappy, and she gets all like whatever, controlling. I don't know. And so we talked about it because here in this fabulous relationship, it's really unpleasant. It's like awful. I turned into somebody I'm really not sure I want to be. I mean, I'm glad I can speak up, but it also can be a little, it's not a good communication style. So we wanted to improve our communication style, and we really worked on it, and we worked through it. And now I feel so much bigger. I feel like I can take this to with other people when I relate to them. And I can be more understanding. I can be not as reactive as I sometimes am. And it made me bigger. Was it pleasant? Not really. I mean, in the end it was, but we really had to go like, God, I'm miserable. And this is awful. And like, okay, yeah. And then now we've had a level of closeness that is beyond what we've had before. So what I'm trying to say is that you have to create the high road and stick there. And yeah, you're going to have a choice all the time between love myself, not love myself, war, peace, happy, not happy. It's going to happen. But like I said, create that high road and stick there, because that is the process of staying in your happy place and just creating the life of your dreams. And, doing that, it isn't limited to just you and your life. You do that for everybody. It expands everyone's joy and happiness when we're in that kind of a place. So so there's that particular thought. So here we go. Here's something I want to tell you. Yes, you and your happiness matters. You and your dream matters. You and your expression matters. Every week, I do this every week. I kind of listen all week before our show. I get in there and I go, okay, what are the conversations that are all around me? Because I don't know why, but every week they have this current thread that runs through them. So this week I talked to a friend of mine whose daughter is an artist. She's very, very talented. She's young, in her mid-30s, and she created like 100 works for a show that she was going to put on. And very close to the show, she had an extreme addictive episode and landed in the hospital. And the thought was, who am I to show this work? Nobody cares. It's going to be a flop. And, it had very much to do about being afraid to show up and afraid to see the value in who you are and your expressions. And then right after that, I have a girlfriend who's extremely successful as a painter, had a long 35, 40-year career, sold many paintings, been in many important shows. And I was very surprised. She said, Beth, looking back at my life, I feel like I've wasted my whole life. She said, what's art? Art's nothing. Science is important. Art, what have I been doing my whole life? And I just was like, oh my God, you've created beauty. You've been true to your inner vision. You've just given people pleasure. You've helped them see and feel who they are on the inside. And so again, there's someone who's actually had a very accomplished career going, oh, what's the value of my expression? And placing that all on the opinions and viewpoints of others, which is the most unstable thing that you can do. We just talked about the stability of your own self-love really being, that's your ground for your life, and seeing your value and seeing your worth. I also have another friend who's in her mid-50s, still kind of young by some of our standards, and, getting a divorce, which was a long time coming. And she said, Beth, I feel like I'm 25. I know, am I using the word like too much? I don't know. I have to watch that. A friend said, watch that. Anyway, whatever. She just said, I feel like I'm 25 again. I don't even know who I am without being nice all the time, without being a pleaser all the time. Like, I'm going to have to learn who I am now. And I thought that was so fascinating too, really, to put your whole value and worth on and letting the ideas and opinions of others define you, which that really is sort of a somewhat of a complete insanity, because they're all over the place, and that is not how you can find your personal power and live from that beautiful place. So I heard a lot about the congestion of self-expression due to the opinions of others and placing great value on that. And of course, that's something I think about all the time. And I just have to keep showing up and go like, I hope, that, and do it for yourself. I mean, I do this for everyone, and hopefully it gives everyone pleasure and enlightenment. But in the end, I want to share the things that go on inside me with you. And this is how I know that you have great value. And that's why I say, yes, you and your happiness and you and your expression matters. Because over the course of my career, my long career as an artist, yes, I've created massive amounts of personal art, but all the programs that I do now, the dance programs, the shrine making, this radio show, many of the class formats that I've produced have to do with showing you and giving you formats for you to see the joyous expression that you are through art, celebration, community, visual arts, dance, writing, through the integrated arts. And I know, I mean, I work with a lot of people with dementia and Alzheimer's every day. What am I talking about? Well, not every day, every week. I gotta narrow it. Whoa, I'm narrowing it down every week. And each one of them, even in the most distant state, comes out and expresses the unique joy of who they are. That's just what they do through my Joyous movement programs. And I've trained people to do this. It's a simple system of helping people come out and expressing who they are. And this really, I'm telling you, is one of the most crucial things that that you can give yourself in the theme of our talk today. So what I want to say is, believe in your uniqueness and what you have to offer. I do. So with that, I'd like you to join the beautiful and delightful Patty Teal and myself in our Unplug segment. I invite you to come back next week for segment 4 of Joyous Everyday Living. And we may just talk about what you're going to do next with that beautiful, powerful, full of life, joyous self that you are creating every day. I'm Beth Amine. It's such a deep pleasure to be with you. And we'll talk more in a few minutes. Bye.
Hi, Beth.
Patty.
I'm here for our Unplugged segment.
Oh, it's our Unplugged. I love this part, Patty, because I'm now such a collaborator. And you give me so much to play off of, and you have such great ideas yourself. So,
well, thank you. I'm actually, I guess this isn't very self-loving, but I'm actually very disappointed in myself that I didn't do I'll call it an assignment. I know you don't like it to be called an assignment, but we were supposed to do something fun and new, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, that's right. Yes.
And the week has gone by, and I didn't do anything fun and new.
Well, isn't this fun and new?
Well, yes, but I thought you meant
brand new, you mean?
Brand new, brand new, and just doing something for yourself, just yourself, like a date with yourself. It's a date with you, which I do really love. But anyway, I didn't make, I won't say I didn't make that time for myself, but I'm going to
Oh
this.
my gosh. That is so perfect, because that's one thing. I'm so glad you brought that up. See how you're always just perfect? That's one thing that's one, yes,
But
one
you
thing
know,
I
you
forgot
said
to
that's,
say in my talk, and I hope everyone is still listening.
yeah,
Okay, even 15 minutes would be great.
yeah.
But even if you have 5 minutes, just
Hmm.
like you're going to make 5 minutes, just go like, oh, wow, the wonder of life in this body. Oh, just look at the sky and go, oh my gosh, this is a mystical experience. What a planet we're on. It's crazy. So I was going to tell everyone, I know the lives are so busy, but you probably have got 5 minutes somewhere. 15 would be better. And just like explore the wonder of the moment, just or life or whatever. And I forgot to say that. So
Right.
maybe this week, Patty, just 5 minutes.
Okay, now let's make it simple, 5 minutes, because you said, and I think you're right, that's the most important thing. You know, like the most important thing and the most self-loving and caring thing that you can do.
You
Anyway.
did some, now I think you did something new though. You actually took care of yourself and rested when you could have gone into high level burnout, right? Didn't you do that on Sunday?
Yeah, it was kind of like I had to. I was so exhausted. So I had this experience where I, volunteered to do some caregiving, and it was really um, much more extreme than I thought. It was a sad situation because the couple was so ill, and the woman had had a stroke and was on a feeding tube. And it was really, I felt too much for me because I don't have the medical background, and I was so worried about her. And I didn't even tell you this, Beth. I came home, and my dog, I thought he'd had a stroke. That day I was so exhausted, and I took him to the doctor. He was kind of crooked, and he had gotten sick, and so I ran him to the vet in the middle of my exhaustion until I got home and really rested. And I think what he has, they think, is geriatric vestibular disorder. I'm hoping that's what it was. But how odd that I spent this weekend caring for this woman who had been so injured by a stroke. I come home and my doggy, and so it was a lot to handle. And I think going back to being fearless, it was such a hard experience for me, but I needed to do it because I'd obligated. But I kept going, you can do this, you can do this, fearless, 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 and every hour I just would check it off to get through it. And I'm not going to do it again. It's not the right thing for me. But I really had to dig deep to get through it.
Oh, wow, Patty, that's powerful
I
that
guess,
you had your word and it helped.
yeah. But it was not easy. And so many things you say, Beth, bring up ideas and thoughts. I used to think I came from the perfect family. I came from a wonderful family. Don't get me wrong. I miss my mother, and my dad, of course, wasn't perfect like none of us are, but I always knew he loved me. But, my mom was a real pleaser. My dad was difficult, and I was taught to be a pleaser. It really was, oh, don't do that. You're bothering your dad. Or, even if he was difficult, I was instructed, so that he would talk to me again, to go tell him I was sorry, even if I didn't feel I was sorry and I'd done anything wrong. So that was my upbringing. And I think it definitely, I'm not sure I'm completely over it because I still don't like a lot of confrontation, but I think that, if you do take time to look at those family dynamics, like you were talking about, they really do, they're very revealing as far as showing you why you act the way you do and why you're the person you are.
Oh, I think that's absolutely so important, Patty. And it's really hard I think still, I don't know about the younger ones. I'm sure there's still a lot of that in the culture. My daughter speaks up quite a bit. She's a millennial. She's in her late 20s, but certainly we were all taught that. And I don't know if it's a gender thing, but more women maybe than men. And that, how do you feel like you may work with that and be more expressive of your own needs at knowing that? Do you have
Hmm.
any thoughts on like Um,
I don't know. Honestly, Beth, I probably still do it in my family life because it's just not worth the trouble sometimes. Now, I
right.
don't know if this is a good trait or not, but I'm really good at tuning things out.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not really totally engaged sometimes. But to me, it's a really good skill to have. Like I'm not going to go there. And so
Yeah.
even though there might be conversations and things going on, if it's not worthwhile to me, I won't make a fuss still. I don't think it's worth making a fuss, but then again, maybe that's just my pleasing self. But I tune it out so it's
I
not
think
upset.
that's a very powerful
Oh,
solution,
good.
to tell you the truth. I think
Works
that's a
for
very
me.
powerful. Yeah, because that means you're just not engaging. Why
No.
engage?
Yeah.
That's powerful, Patty.
Oh, good. Good.
I think, good answer, good
Mhm.
solution.
Mhm.
Yeah, we all need to. Then what I did is I went the flip side after having been so sweet for most of my life. I went to the, like, kind of put your dukes up. I'm little, but I'm mighty, so don't mess with me. I mean, and I went overboard like a little poodle barking.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Don't you remember I used to call you Mighty Mouse?
Yeah, Mighty Mouse, right. So
Okay.
I got a
Yeah,
little
yeah, that's
too
really
feisty, and I'm bringing it down
bring it
now.
down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
So
could bring mine up a little bit,
yeah,
so
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
that I think it's very important to be direct, and then the evolution of that is to be graceful and kind at the same time that
Yeah.
you're being direct, and
Yeah.
that's quite the art. And
Mhm.
I'm 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 gonna learn.
All right.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, me too. I like that is a fine art to be direct and truthful, but at the same time, not hurtful, and it reminds me, what
Yeah.
was that Disney movie? If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. So sometimes you don't really have to confront things that you don't like unless it's hurting somebody or, it's really wrong. You can just keep your mouth shut, right? What do you
Yeah,
think?
I mean, unless it directly concern, yeah, that's right. Just ignore it. That works too, unless it's really affecting you in some way and you need to speak out.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that absolutely. The less you get yourself upset about unnecessary things, I think the better it is too. So
Yeah. I love
what?
what you said too, Beth, about your container had to be bigger. And so even though you've done wonderful things, you're hands-on working with seniors, working with children, art workshops, creativity workshops, but you're one person. And so you need a bigger stage and you need to
Mhm.
be able to do things in a different way. So perhaps that's why you had this health challenge that you've spoken of, because you had to make a new paradigm for yourself.
Exactly on target. And look what happened. I got a bigger container. I got our show.
I know, I know. I'm really excited about our show.
Me too. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm loving it so much.
Mhm.
Was there anything else that you came up for you this week, or that you thought in the content, Patty? Because you're such a good question asker and inputter and all that.
Well, I need to make more time for myself, that's for sure. And the whole self-love thing, even though, I'm on the show with you, I'm not the expert on that. And I really think I need to nurture that. I am pretty good about taking time away from myself, going away, and it really revives my spirit.
Hmm.
But on the other hand, in my particular situation, I so need it all the time, and so I do
You're
need to
so what all the time? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
needed. And we talked
Needed,
about
yes,
needed
yes.
is not exactly the same as loved. It's just has. Um, you can be needed and loved, but sometimes I feel more needed than loved,
Yes.
and
Mm.
because I do a fair amount of caregiving for my husband, bless his heart, and I do love him, and I know he loves me, but it's sometimes just more about taking care of a person's needs. And that's why they talk about the burnout and that people need to make time for themselves and take care for themselves, give themselves that oxygen.
They
So
do, and there's so much now written on
mhm,
caregivers, and that which is essentially what you are, beside
mhm.
many other things. And the burnout is real. It is real. I mean, it's amazing that you accomplish as much as you do with as many roles as you play. And
That's for sure. Yeah, it's just really important to remember that. So this show and your advice, it's all just really, really good for me. So I thank you for that, Beth. And unlimited, I love your word, unlimited. Unlimited, to be unlimited, I think you have to be fearless. So they definitely go together.
yeah, you do, don't you? Fearless is kind of covers a lot.
Yeah, because if you are, how can you be unlimited if you have any fear? You got to just be ready to go. Like, whew, I'm going. I might have to take on your word
Exactly.
along with my fearlessly unlimited.
Oh, whoa. That's as powerful as it gets. Whoa.
Oh,
Whoa.
it's too much for me. Yes.
Whoa. No, I mean, like, whoa, that's expansive.
Oh
I
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
And that's a practice. You have to just keep the practice of it.
And Beth,
Okay, I'm going to say this. What?
you made me laugh so hard when you go, because as she was going through the story that she wrote, she go, I wrote my story, and it's the same story I wrote for I don't know how many years ago. I mean, I just love Beth because she's so honest. I know there's a lot of, self-help people out there, and it seems like they've got it all together. And Beth has it together too, but she's so honest. Like she admits when something is like shocking to her about
Yeah, like
herself instead of everything's perfect. But it will be interesting to see how all of us, our lives transform because of what we're doing.
what we're
So
doing like this.
everything that we're doing, the advice that you're giving, the show, just to see what starts to manifest for us
Yes.
through doing all of this. It's going to be really, really interesting because you're leading it, but we're taking it in. We're all taking it in, and we're following your.
Well, or as I say, yes, thank you. That's very generous of you to say, but I am like so in the mix. I'm always the person who is in process. I'm always growing. So there's nothing else to be but real. I mean, I haven't figured anything out necessarily. I mean, I have, but it doesn't mean that I'm not still in the ongoing process of growth, because that's one of the main points of all my work is that we are living in a universe that's expanding, and time is always moving and changing. And the way to joy is to just be in sync with that. And so, yeah, there's moments of rest. And if you meditate, you get that time every day where you are in a bit of an unlimited space. But otherwise, we're in a state of evolution, and that's what makes us feel so youthful and alive. And I am in the mix, let me tell you. I'm
Oh, I
in the soup
love
there.
the honesty of it, because you do kind of wonder sometimes these self-help, classes or courses. It's like, are they not still growing? I mean, they give you advice as if they don't have anything left to learn. So I like that we're all in this together.
Yes, I do too. We are all doing this together, and we go together collectively.
Right.
And yeah, so that's good. I'm putting a lot of these concepts in the book. I'm starting to write this year my second book. We had Joyous Everyday Living, and now I'm starting Joyous Everyday Loving. So there's concepts about self-love, mate love, tribal love, and world love, and all the aspects of love, and all the ways that your person uh, interacts and evolves through all these. So it's all an interesting topic that we're completely involved in, because I mean, it does appear that this is a time of very deep planetary evolution. Things are polarized, and people are moving faster and in certain ways. And so we can support each other.
Yeah. And the other thing I just wanted to mention, I don't know,
Yeah,
I'm jumping to a different subject in a way,
that's
but
okay.
sometimes when you notice yourself upset and maybe even overly so, I think there's some basic fear that you have that you maybe need to look at. So that was my little revelation for
When you're
last.
sad, I'm sorry, my sound isn't
Well,
too loud.
this couple that that I cared for last week,
Yes.
I think the reason it was also hard for me was the fear factor of I don't want to end up in this same situation. And so there was a fear
Mm,
that brought up in me that I needed to look at.
yes. Yes, absolutely. And I think you can simply almost leap to the knowledge that it does not have to be that way for me. I'm
Hmm.
buying it a different way. I am creating a different way. I
Yeah.
see that all the time. And when I go to these retirement homes, going like, this is a lot of unnecessary suffering. I'm not buying this paradigm. I'm not expecting that that's going to the way it's going to be. I'm not preparing my habits for that to happen. In other words, I am moving, I am eating properly, I am keeping my mind stimulated, I am dancing, I am interacting with people, I am doing all the things that create a different possibility. And I completely believe in that possibility. So,
Well, here you go,
that's,
though, Beth. I'm the devil's advocate here, but then
yeah,
you know people that have eaten right, they've done things right, and through no fault of their own, they have something really darn awful that happened to them, before their time, or a youngster, or, a terrible car crash, who knows what. And so, I mean, some people think they took that on before they came to earth. That was part of their lesson, but it was not really a conscious choice on this plane unless there's a different, um, higher consciousness that they did take it on in another realm. I have no idea. So that doesn't always protect one from creating a different reality, it
no.
seems to me.
No,
So,
Patty, you're absolutely right. And you're not being the devil's advocate. I think it's
okay.
great to bring all this
Okay.
up. Well, I mean, I think it's great to bring up like challenging aspects of it. And you're right, there's all sorts of theories on that.
Right.
Like you come in with a contract, blah, blah. I can't be arrogant enough to say I really know the great mysteries of life, that I understand or can. Uh, I who knows? These are the great mysteries of life. All I know is that in your present moment, you can either be on the upswing or the downswing. And so whether, hopefully not, something's going to happen in the next whatever that will be, it's not what I predicted. I don't know, but in this moment, I am quite a bit happier, and I choose happiness and I choose feeling good as an important and valuable approach to my time here on earth. That in this moment, I'm going to feel good, and I'm not going to go like, yeah, I'm just going to deteriorate every day and be in a lot of pain, and I'm going to hate everything.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not choosing that. And granted, I don't know what may happen. I'm hoping for the best.
Right.
I'm 40 or something, but pretty spunky. But you know, that's all we can
That's all
deal
we
with.
can do. That's right. That's right. Okay. So, anyway, life is a challenge, but it's a beautiful one. And
Yes,
we'll just take it a step by
exactly.
step. Yeah. And this is an exciting year.
So, what'd you say?
I said
Sorry.
this is an exciting year. This is an exciting,
Oh,
fearless,
an exciting. God, I'm so sorry. My
expansively fearless year.
unlimited
Unlimited.
year.
Yes.
All
Yes.
right.
So
So, is that our segment for today? Oh
I
my
think
gosh,
that's our segment for the
I
day,
think
but
that's
I think that let's always invite people to write to you. And, these are going to be posted on hubforhumanity.com,
yeah.
the hubforhumanity.com network. And Beth will answer you. She loves to interact with people, and maybe we can even share some of your stories, and eventually you can actually be on the show with us. So that's what we're leading up to.
Well, that's right. Oh, of course. Yes. That's just what I was going to say, too. Is like, we can't
Yeah.
wait for you to give us your words and your stories and share your insights that have happened from the show. That's going to be wonderful. And we will be more interactive as time goes on. And if you want to find me right now, you can look at my website, joyousmovement.com, joyousmovement.com. You can email me directly, joyousmovement@gmail.com. You can join my Facebook page, would be great. Beth Amine on Facebook. And I also have a Joyous Movement page there. And we will be having, we're working on it right now to have all the offerings in one place, so you can find the book. If you want to buy the book, you can get it from me directly. Just email me and I'll sign a premium color copy, or you can get it on Amazon or through my website, joyouseverydayliving.com. So I really want to hear from you. Please keep in touch. I want you part of my posse and my tribe.
Thank you, Beth. Until
Thank
next
you, Patty.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. See you next week. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this segment of Young at Heart called Joyous Longevity. I'm Beth Amine, and I'm so pleased to be with you again this week. This is our third show of the year, and our first show, we talked about movement as really one of the bases of feeling alive and keeping vitality moving through every cell of your body, as well as your mind and emotions. So we had some simple practices, and we will go through more easy movements as time goes on. But remember, even if you don't get up and walk this week, I want you all to lift your arms and breathe at least once or twice every day. That's going to make a big difference. Then last week on our show, we decided that as part of our longevity regimen, or I don't want to call it regimen, playtime, let's call it playtime, we decided to do something new. I wanted you to try something brand new. So were you able to do that? I really want to hear about it. We thought something as simple, eating a different flavor of something than you don't eat. If you take a walk, take the backwards route instead of the frontwards route. If you go to a movie that you wouldn't ordinarily see. Go to an independent film. Go to the film festival. Just whatever it is. Light candles for dinner with your mate. Wear a color you don't wear. Just something that gives you that edge of creativity and that edge of the unknown. So for our segment this week, our Joyous Longevity exercise or fun thing to do is, what can you do this week that would be really nice for yourself? What would bring you fun and what would make you feel loved? We just had a radio show. We talked a lot about self-love and how crucial that is to happiness, and definitely the happiness that leads the body to be happy, the mind and the emotions and the spirit to be happy, which does create a flavor of your longevity that is the most delicious. So this week, what I'd like you to do is to find out something that makes you feel loved. What pampers you? What would honor and acknowledge you? And this is the happiness and joy of just being really good to yourself. So would that be FaceTime with a friend across the country? Or would that be a walk? Would that be taking time to volunteer somewhere and making somebody else happy? I want you to take a minute and go like, what really gives me joy? Maybe you want someone to rub your feet or give you a facial, but it's time to take a few minutes for yourself this week. And that's your handy tip. Maybe not a few minutes. Take a half hour, take an hour, take the whole day. Why not? But have a I'm being good to myself day and be creative about it. Make a list of everything you love that honors you and makes you feel good, and do it. So I want to hear back from you as soon as we get interactive. I'd love to hear what you've done. So this week, pamper yourself. And I'm Beth Amine. That was your hint today for Joyous Longevity. Move, be good to yourself, and pamper yourself with in any way you want, and do new things. Okay, love you, bye, be joyous, and live long. I'm Beth.